George Rose, welcome back to Australia. How does it feel to be home?
No, good. I'm happy to be back in the swing of things now. It was a long trip. But it was really good. There was, some great learnings for us, and good to be back and hitting the ground running now, getting ready to roll straight into Nikita.
Don't want to touch on it too much, but we have to. Obviously, what was it like being the promoter? Your biggest star has had his first loss overseas. What was going through your mind?
Look, I was okay. I was obviously disappointed. I know Tim fought his absolute heart out, had a lot of adversity in that fight, but absolute warrior. I don't think he lost any credibility in the loss. If anything, there's no pressure on the O anymore. There's no pressure on that. So now he recovered okay. So I'm really happy that he's safe and healthy. And yeah, same with Liam as well. I'm really happy that both of them are safe and healthy.
So Tim, obviously everyone wants to know straight off the bat, like, what's next for him? Is it the rematch? Is it moving on to the other names he mentioned? Errol Spence, Terence Crawford. Where are we at the moment?
Recovery right now. He's taken some time to come home, so he's taken a little holiday before he returns back home, and so it's recovery, rest, recuperate, and then once he's back here, he's recovered, then we can talk about that there.
There was obviously, in the immediacy, there was a bit of blurred lines regarding what was going to be the outcome for a potential rematch. Was it there? Was it not there? You were quite adamant that it was there. Did it ease your mind when Samson came out, Sebastian Fundora's promoter, to say that they're going to be men of their word and take a rematch? Provided both are fit and healthy. No,
it wasn't something that worried me. I knew that we had the rematch, so. I think Fundora's got a probably a longer rest time than Tim will have. So, I wasn't worried about that. I knew that we were safe there, and just more worried about how long the recovery time will be and when we'll be ready to go again.
Even though you say rest and recuperation for Tim, you can't help but see his own posts on social media, and I'm assuming you're not surprised that he's already back in the gym and keeping fit?
Not at all. I mean, we talk about the warrior he is. There's a lot of talk about him being a throwback and how he trains. Like I know how committed he is as a trainer, as a bloke, and I'm not shocked to see him training back in the swing of things. It looks like the cut's healed pretty well. And that was sort of the main thing that came from the fight for him, and the thing that caused him so much grief. But it was such it seems to have been a pretty good recovery.
Obviously, from one zoo to another, we've gone from Timmy over in Vegas to Nikita headlining a pay-per-view show against Danilo Creati here in Sydney at the Hordern Pavilion. No rest for the wicked, is there, at No Limit Boxing?
No, well, I mean, the way that everyone got behind Australian boxing last year, behind the events that we were doing, the shows that we were putting on, tuning in across the nation, I knew coming into this year we just had to be very frequent with our events to make sure that we've got good quality boxing for everyone across Australia, because I know everyone's loving what they're seeing, and Nikita Tszyu's a guy that everyone loves tuning into. So I'm stoked that Nikita's in now. He's had a really good rest on the back of a really strong 2023, and then now he's ready to roll and ready to get active again and keep rolling. So he's got a tough fight against Danilo Creati on April 24th, but I think it's one that it'll be a good welcome back for Nikita.
He is awkward, he is tough. He obviously took the last fight against Marcus Haywood on very short notice, so probably isn't the best representation of what Danilo Creati can bring. Is there a little bit of concern or worry regarding sort of his awkwardness or his craftiness in sort of how he fights? Because Nikita hasn't fought a guy like Danilo who has that ability to be sort of awkward and maybe put body parts in positions that Nikita's probably not used to seeing.
Well, last time someone slept on Danilo was the Cameron Hammond fight. Cameron Hammond is, a very accomplished amateur, had a very strong professional career, came into that fight. The talk was about what Cameron Hammond was going to do for his next 4 fights and how good he was going to be in pro boxing. And Danilo came out and put on an absolute show, absolute clinic, knocked him down, was dominant in that fight. He's an awkward fighter. He's a guy that can throw punches from anywhere. He's very fast, moves really well, and when you sleep on him, it makes him bigger, makes him stronger, makes him believe in himself even more. And a guy that is as self-confident as Danilo is, when you add even more self-belief to that, it makes for a very dangerous fighter. So I know Nikita's not someone who sleeps on his opponents, but as a public, if we're sleeping on him, you know, he's going to come out and put on an absolute clinic.
And the card itself as well, you obviously got Nikita Tszyu himself along with Danilo. It's a great fight, but the card itself is sort of up there with one of the best we've put on because of what's at stake for so many fighters. Titles on the line, be it legitimate world titles, also world title eliminators. So run us through. Where's your pick?
Well, look, what we've announced so far, Jerome Pampellone from New Zealand has joined us, and he's got a world title eliminator. It's a massive fight for him. It puts him in line for the world title shot, but a very tough fight. And I'm grateful that we've got this one on our card, and really excited that it's his first fight with no limit. He's going to get the chance to put on a show. Absolute beast of a light heavyweight, someone that I'm glad that everybody will be able to get the chance to see and tune in and see what he does. We've also got the No Limit promotional debut of Mateo Tapia. Now Mateo is a guy who's fought on No Limit cards in the past, but we've only just recently signed him, and this is the beginning of his run too. You know, we haven't seen a lot of Mateo in the last few years, so it's a great welcome back to him here in Sydney, his hometown, Northern Beaches boy. So I know he'll have plenty of his mates and everyone be able to get behind him and welcome him back to Sydney in what's another big one for him. You know, he's got a WBO title on the line there, so global title on the line. So and Linn Sandstrom, world WBA title, featherweight title. I'm excited for Linn. You know, Linn started her journey with us on the Hornzu undercard way back when. And she's had a tremendous journey. She's now fighting for a WBA world title, and she's fighting for it on our card, April 24th. It's, some other great matchups on there. We've got Ben Hussein and Mason Smith in what's a really good super welterweight matchup. Super welterweight division in Australia, very, very hot, very, very hot. These two guys are both guys who are contenders for some of them top tier spots in the Australian super welterweight division. So it'll be a really good matchup. Both guys are very confident of getting a win, and it'll sort of decide the career path of both of them. The result of that. So we've got huge fights.
Those two in particular, Ben Hussein and Mason Smith, they seemingly, from what I could see online, almost made your job quite easy to get this fight made. There's not a lot of love lost there, and Ben Hussein himself, he doesn't mind putting himself out there to try and get fights made, especially with a bit of venom behind him as well.
Yeah, look, I love the confidence, and in this sport, it's an individual sport. You've got to be able to sell yourself. You've got to be able to talk yourself up. You've got to be able to make people interested in what you're going to offer when you step into the ring. So what they're doing, it's perfect. You know, they're calling each other out. They're two top guys in the division. It's a great fight. It's one that everyone will want to tune into, and the more we get people doing that, the better it makes it for all of us. It makes it better for Australian boxing. You know, when people want to step up and test themselves and really put on a show for the fans here in Australia, it makes for great viewing.
And obviously, it'd be remiss of me not to sort of ask you about Australia's newest world champion, Nicholson. Did the job to become another world champion out of Australia. Albeit on a different platform, on a different provider, but like, how good is Australian boxing?
Oh, look, we were stoked for Sky. We tried to catch up with her while we were in Vegas. We've been big supporters of Sky, since her amateur career, transitioning into the pros, and really happy to see her get that world title and in such dominant fashion. Her style of fighting is very difficult for anyone in that division, and I won't be surprised if she ends up winning a few more world title belts, but really happy for her and happy for her success, and can't wait to see her win a few more.
Thanks, George.
Thank you.